In imposing these tariffs, the United States has taken the absurd decision to harm its own people at a time when its economy is suffering the deepest crisis since the Great Depression.
A bad case of déjà vu for Canada's aluminum industry as the United States moves to introduce a 10% tariff on Canadian aluminum entering America. This comes 2 years after the Americans introduced similar tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum before lifting them the next year. Once again, Canada is preparing dollar-for-dollar, tit-for-tat retaliatory tariffs, and politicians and industry leaders say we need to be prepared to back our response to the hilt.
Who does this? In times like this, who tries to go after your closest ally, your closest trading partner, your #1 customer in the entire world? Who would do this? Well, President Trump did this.
A visibly frustrated Ontario Premier Doug Ford calling the move totally unacceptable, highlighting $390 billion in trade between the U.S. and Ontario alone. His words aligning with those of Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, who says American aluminum tariffs will only result in self-inflicted wounds.
Any American who buys a can of beer or of soda, or a car or a bike, will suffer. In fact, the very washing machines manufactured at the Whirlpool plant where the president made his announcement yesterday will become more expensive for Americans and less competitive with machines produced elsewhere.
The impact will be more so with our consumers, our clients in the US, who will pay more for the same product than they were paying before this announcement. So this is where it creates some background noise on the business environment.
Aluminum industry leaders say they can weather the storm, but Americans will have trouble finding a better trade partner. Only China, India, and Russia produce more aluminum than Canada. Freeland also slammed America's pivot to protectionism, a trade policy most economists say doesn't work and hasn't worked since the 1800s.
And I think we are going into a world now where certain concerns, some of them political or non-economic, let's say like security, which are going to play a much bigger role in trade policy than we've seen before.
The U.S. aluminum tariff comes into effect on August 16th. Meanwhile, the Canadian government says it'll be consulting on what American products will be targeted by retaliatory tariffs. The Aluminum Association of Canada says it fully supports the government on this. Meanwhile, Ontario's Doug Ford went a bit further, saying it's time to buy Canadian and adding,
"We can hit them where it hurts."
In Ottawa, Xiaoli Li, City News.